Good morning. My name is Lam Yan. Today I will present the topic COVID-19 Maritime Trade and Shipping Industry Impact and Response in the Global Aspect. This is today's table of content. To start off, let me give you an introduction of this study. Since the COVID-19 was declared as an international pandemic on 11 of March 2020, it has presented health, economic, and operational challenge for global maritime trade, which is a sector creating more than 90% of cross-border trade. In 2020, 10% decrease in maritime trade was recorded. The industry faces operational challenges such as closures of ports and blank sailing. These issues could destroy the trade facilitations in sea transport services. The project has three objectives. The first one is to discuss the impacts of COVID on the global maritime trade and explain their causes. The second one is to evaluate the responses from different stakeholders towards discuss the impacts. And the third one is to comment on the responding measures and suggest ways to improve it. Before writing the reports, literature review has been done. Many of the relevant literature focus on a particular impact or their impacts in a specific regions. For example, Usan et al. Identified the impacts on the Indonesian sea from April to October 2020. Many articles analyzed the economic impacts under the pandemic. They found a significant drops in international trade activity and downturn in the global economy. Choi et al. Analyzed the maritime resilience and challenges under the pandemic, for example, lockdowns and social distancing measures. Kumar and Ayman discussed the consequences on global maritime trade industry and summarized the factors that lead to the declines in maritime trade in the following graph. For the trend in global trade, due to the pandemic, the global merchandise trade reduced by 27% in the second quarter of 2020. This contraction is greater than that observed in the 2008 to 2009 global financial crisis. Zooming into the maritime trade, before the pandemic, there is an increasing trend of trade volume. A weak growth of 0.5% was recorded in 2019. However, in 2020, the pandemic disrupted the world economy, and the global maritime trade declined by 3.8%. The next section is the methodology. Secondary research was conducted on Google Scholar and OneSearch discovery platform. Information gathered will be applied to support the identified global impacts on the shipping industry and review the changes in relevant data in different periods as the pandemic continues. There are some techniques for reviewing resources, including combination of 4 groups of search terms, screening articles by scanning up abstracts, snowballing technique, and reviewing reports from the international organizations or officials' correspondence, for example, the reports and letters from UNCAS and ICS. The fourth chapter is the findings and analysis. Global impacts of COVID-19 can be categorized into 3 aspects, including impacts on the maritime supply chain, global ports, and global maritime mobility. Let's start with the impacts on the maritime supply chain. The first impact is the drop in trade volume. Under the pandemic, the global economic recession has triggered a decline of 3.8% in the maritime trade. Year-over-year declines in global container trade were recorded from January to August 2020. For the year, the cumulative change was negative 0.9%. The downturn in maritime trade results in the fall of demand for shipping and port traffic. The second impact is the cruise chain crisis. Because of the traffic restriction measures, many seafarers have faced trouble in accessing ports, crew changeovers, and repatriations. For instance, crew changes was allowed only under 3 special circumstances in Singapore. As these requirements are hard to meet, only 25% of crew changes were performed normally from March to August 2020. Overall, 500,000 seafarers have been affected by the crisis, and 300,000 seafarers were still trapped on board. From the view of seafarers, working continuously for a long time can lead to fatigue and damage to mental health. For unemployed seafarers, they experience loss of income. If they subject to mental illness, they may even hurt themselves and commit suicide. From the view of the shipping sector, the bad health conditions may increase the mistakes at work. This may increase the risk of maritime accidents and endanger the lives of other crews on the sea. The third impact is related to the ship and seafarer certificates. The validity of certificates will be checked during PSC inspection in foreign ports. Normally, the certificates are obtained through marine surveys. However, because of the COVID, it's difficult to perform inspection on ships and to deliver certificates. This results in expirations of ship certificates. On the other hand, as many training centers were closed, many seafarers cannot renew their certificates. This reduced the number of eligible seafarers and increased the risk of expirations. This problem can lead to deficiency and even detainment of the ship. Under the pandemic, many shipyards were forced into lockdown. This weakened the desire of investment by ship buyers and reduced the ship supply and demand. Since the end of 2019, the global shipbuilding order books has reduced by 16%. The fall in order volumes was up to 51% year-over-year average. Even if the production level resumes to normal conditions, the delivery of ships may confront delays. There was an average 30% year-over-year decrease in global ship delivery in 2020. Next, I will talk about the impacts on global ports. One of the impacts is the decline in vessel costs. In the first half of 2020, the total vessel cost decreased by 8.7%. Container ships, dry bulk, wet bulk, break bulk ships, and ro-ro ships have created a 30.8% contraction in the total number of ports called for all ship types in 2020. Another impact is the congestion and delays at ports. Under the pandemic, ships need to serve their 14 days of quarantine anchorage before entering next port. This affects the short sea shipping service. Thus, delays and additional costs were incurred frequently. Moreover, due to the lockdown, many warehouses were full or closed, hence a portion of manufacturers have stopped picking up shipments in ports. Therefore, congestion was frequently incurred in 2020, especially at the major hub spots, for example, the Port of Long Beach. Next, the operation in ports have been adjusted. The adjustment, like proper wearing of personal protective equipment, helps to reduce the disruption to ports. The last impact is related to the global maritime mobility. Following the outbreak, drops in maritime mobility were found across all types of commercial shipping from March to June 2020. The variation of mobility are shown in the table. In this chapter, we will discuss the current response efforts of international organizations and further risks. Let's start with the existing solutions. The first solution is digitalization. It has dematerialized some of the process along the supply chain and tends to include more remote procedure. For example, substituting the face-to-face meeting with online video conferencing. Digital infrastructure like PSC and SW has reduced the human-to-human physical interaction in the trade flow. The second solution is capacity management. Shipping lines have adjusted shipping schedules to ensure a higher utilization factor along with stable freight rates by controlling the supply of transportation. For instance, in 2020, Free Carrier Alliance modified the capacity of containers to fit the reduced demand. In the field of shipping lines, this solution is effective because it improved the profitability by raising the freight rate, but this is not favorable for shipper. Reductions in frequent shipping services implies greater competitions. This would increase the operating costs. Less frequent services also results in shipment delays and lower service levels. To address the crew chain crisis, IMO has urged all governments to take immediate actions like key worker destination for seafarers. The letters have provided a set of guidelines regarding crew chains and other relevant issues. As the letters just act as references, the effectiveness depends on the final decisions made by different member states. Most countries relaxed their requirements for crew changes. For example, MPA Singapore added 4 new circumstances, as shown in the table. Since the relaxations in March 2020, the number of crew changes in the Port of Singapore exceeds 100,000, and the daily number of crew changes is also resuming to the level at pre-COVID-19 period. Regarding the expiration of certificates, some flag states have issued short-term certificate or extended the certificate automatically, like the STCW certificates. The length can vary from different countries. This solution might be effective in short term but not in long term, as the validity of certificate cannot be postponed indefinitely. Apart from these solutions, organizations like ICS provides the latest information on the virus, best practice guidance, and recommendations. It also works on the guidelines together with the WHO, IMO, and the ILO to control the spread of the virus and maintain the continuity of global maritime trade. On the other hand, mobility restrictions have greatly encouraged people to shop online. The sudden increase in the global demand for goods boosts their prices. Due to the insufficient container availability and reduced port productivity, a longer time is required for unloading containers, and there are fewer ships to fulfill the demand. In Chapter 6, 3 recommendations for shipping management will be given. The first one is to promote further digitalization. In the current state, the number of IMO members equipped with integrated digital platform is less than a third. They are suggested to adopt PCS to process paperwork. It can enhance the efficiency of marine operation and minimize physical interactions. Moreover, government can provide support to sea transport operators to deploy technology innovations like the PCS and the blockchain technology. In 2020, the Dubai blockchain strategy supported by the local government has reduced more than 1 billion physical documents and saved around 1.5 billion USD. The last recommendation is the use of smart drones. They can be used for delivering small-medium package between ship and the ports. At the same time, human contact can be reduced. Governments can cooperate with DHL Express to deploy the delivery service. The latest smart drone UAV can carry up to 5 kg cargoes per flight, travel 8 miles, and overcome complex road conditions. When delivering certificates to a ship, the package of documents will be loaded into a drone-capable container. Using GPS coordinates, the drones will then be guided to the deck or the ship entrance. The drone will land on the required position and release the package. At last, a delivery notice will be sent to the shipper and the recipient to inform them that the delivery is completed. In conclusion, we have discussed the impacts of COVID on shipping industry from 3 aspects. After that, the implemented solutions have been evaluated, and 3 recommendations for shipping management have been given. For further investigation, future research may consider inviting representatives of port authorities and government authorities to input their insights. This is the references. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.